Okay, Hallis. We're looking at day number 42 on your hunger strike.
Yep.
I was down in here and interviewed you your first week, and I think around the 20-day mark. So I wanted to come back and see what's up. I heard the other day somebody said you weren't feeling well, so I was curious about that first. How's your health? What's going on?
I'm a little weak on my feet. I have to be escorted down to the restroom and back because of equilibrium problems, up and down steps especially. I get up in the morning, I feel pretty good, but by noontime, 1 o'clock, I start to lose my weakness. But, overall, I feel pretty doggone good.
Okay. You did have early on some medical assistants. Are they still coming and checking blood pressure, checking your vitals, that kind of thing?
They are not. They informed me on Sunday that they wanted to work with a transition team from Meridia or Meridor or somebody to have them come out and check on me, since they're doctors and nurses. We also have a hospice nurse that is willing to work with them as well, but that transition has not happened as smoothly as I would like or as should be. So I'm kind of confused as to what really has happened.
Okay.
But I understand that they're working on it.
You are protesting several things. You want to just enumerate those again?
I am protesting the corruption and the mismanagement of the Veterans Administration when it comes to disabled veterans, disability claims, especially considering there was a congressional ruling 2 years ago because of their mismanagement that said that they had to start giving the veterans the benefit of the doubt as a final say in all disability claims. And for 2 years they've been disregarding that.
Okay.
Blatantly. I'm also questioning the running of the Social Security Administration, which seems to be gridlocked or affected in the same way as the VA for maybe the very same reasons. They had their expensive, extorted attorney's fees, or basically going back to Congress the next day and telling Congress the money wasn't used, and then they reappropriated for other things, like billionaires.
Like billionaires.
So those are the two issues that I'm addressing. I'm obviously asking for Barack Obama and Michelle Obama to respond directly to that and to ensure me through a mention on national TV that they are going to head an official external investigation to, at the very least, find out why that congressional ruling is being violated.
Now, if they did that, if Barack Obama announced through his press secretary tonight they were going to do that, would this hunger strike end at that moment?
Not until I actually see them start to implement it.
Okay. What if they gave you a timeline? What if he came on and said, this guy's right, we need to look at this?
If they give me a timeline, I would end my hunger strike, and I would work with that timeline until I saw that there was an intention not to follow the timeline, and then at that point then I would try to gain solidarity and support from other Saudi members around the coalition in the country to reestablish the hunger strike.
Okay. Because obviously you have a lot of friends, you have a lot of people who are paying attention to what's going on here. Nobody wants to see you hurt. So, if we can find an end game, that'd be great.
Right.
I know you're prepared for that not to happen. Right. Is that correct?
Right. I have no death wish. With the talents that I have and so forth, I'd be doing all this in vain if I was just trying to kill myself.
Right, and there would be easier ways.
Exactly.
Honestly.
Yeah.
I know a lot of the left is aware of what you're doing here, but I haven't seen pretty much anything anywhere else, like the regular daily papers here in Madison, Wisconsin, where you're doing this. CNN. Well, Do you feel this is being ignored? Do you feel there's a reason for that? Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, I'm sure that once I made the announcement to the Veterans Administration Hospital that this was beginning on such and such a date, that they put the word out to all of their field offices and their national office, and I'm sure there's been some pressure from the administration or from Congress to have the story blacked out nationwide as far as the mainstream media. The alternative media has picked it up.
Yes.
Including online sources and everything, to the point where people from other countries know more about what I'm doing than people in my own country.
Right.
We're getting ready to step up our participation in that outreach by starting a letter writing campaign with a petition that will be attached online for people to print out and network in their own communities, which will basically be directing their letter to Barack Obama and Michelle Obama and saying, we're filling out these petitions because we want to make sure that you don't just give them any answer. We want to make sure that you have, documentation showing, that we feel this way. And we're hoping that letter writing campaign will spread across the country. We're also going to start passing out that letter here on the streets so that everybody in Madison has it as well, and encourage them to share it with as many people.
Is there a location online where people could find a copy and download it and print it?
It's not online yet. I just approved the draft.
Okay.
That will be back in Matt's hands relatively soon. It's a letter directly from me.
Yep.
And people are more than encouraged to adapt that letter when they send a personal letter of their own. But definitely we're encouraging people to get the petition signed and get those in Obama's hands so that he can see that there's a real precedent for pushing this.
Okay. There's a really interesting piece of cloth here with a lot of names and colors. What's that all about?
This is probably the most recent Solidarity banner that is being created. I'm hoping that it will show up at every Solidarity demonstration that we have here, and I'm hoping people will duplicate it in their own states as best they can, or create one of their own as a model for a Solidarity banner, which they can then be shared with people around the world to help motivate the democracy movements that are occurring in third world countries. So, that we're behind them as well, and that they're not alone. Every signature on this thing shows the power of the people. There's got to be hundreds of signatures on here, conceivably maybe even thousands. It's hard to tell without actually counting them. There's a little bit of philosophy in here. Definitely the motivation of the design is, we're violating God's laws. We're not adhering to them, and we're following man's laws. And all the problems that we're having in our governments around the country now are a perfect example of that. We've got people passing bills, in Congress where they're infringing upon human rights, whereas we've totally ignored the presence of God and the divine spirit in the heart. And that's what this banner is intended to do, is to get them to reach down in their heart and embrace the voice and say, I'm not alone, I can do something.
Okay, that's awesome. You told me a while back that you had lost quite a few pounds here. Where did you start?
I started at 367 pounds. I'm down to about 280 now.
So roughly 87 pounds?
About 87 pounds. And I'll be getting weighed tomorrow at the VA, and I'll find out exactly where I'm at with that.
Okay. How is your health generally? When you went to the doctor last, did they have anything in particular to say?
Well, they were concerned about my bronchitis that flared up again while I was in jail because of the black mold in the city jail ventilation system. They put me on some meds and a nebulizer. They took some lab work and a urinalysis so that they could determine what may be happening subtly within my body that we don't see, and try to circumvent that somehow so that I can extend the hunger strike or at least stay healthy, to the full extent of it. But I've had no warning signs internally that there's anything going wrong just yet. So I'm assuming that I'm getting all the potassium and calcium electrolytes and B complex that I need.
All right. What's the longest a person's ever gone on a hunger strike? Do you know?
67 days, and that was
that Bobby Sands?
That was Bobby Sands, and he perished from that hunger strike. The longest lasting successful hunger strike is 53 days, and that was done by a veteran that was from Texas that lived in Wyoming when they tried to close one of the VA hospitals out in that area. And so he basically went on a hunger strike, telling them that he was going to have to travel 280 some miles to get to the nearest VA facility, and he was successful. They opened the VA hospital back up.
Oh. Well, I think everybody's hoping you're successful too, obviously. But
yeah, I've got a lot of well-wishers and a lot of people pleading with me not to continue with this, and even some improper advances by the opposite sex if I would start eating again, which I can't do because of my lovely girlfriend Irene. I thank them for their concern, but I keep seeing every single day that I'm out here that this is the voice of God that I'm listening to, and in that rare moment when I lose faith because donations aren't coming in and we're in danger of not getting our needs met here or whatever, boom, all of a sudden a couple people walk up and donate anywhere from $80 to $60, and that's like God listening and saying, okay, not giving up on you here. I still want you to do this, so keep up the faith.
Couple things you mentioned I want to go back to. One, you said your girlfriend Irene, was it?
Yeah.
And what does she say about this? Is she supportive? Does she want you to stop?
She's supportive. She wished I would stop. She wished this would be over with. But she's proving that she's my best friend because she's not put any undue pressure on me or changed her feelings about me or anything. And I consider her a gift from God because I met her the second week that I started the understanding.
Huh.
Just sitting out here as a supporter.
Huh.
This angel in white, with incredible eyes.
You also mentioned that you had been in jail during this?
I was in jail for one day because of placing signs on the sidewalk in front of the Department of Veterans Affairs and the Veterans Museum, and every time that they step outside we chant shame at them because I am a disabled vet, and you'd think that if nobody else, would be allowed to be on the sidewalk in front of Veterans Affairs. The second time, we had this banner laid out in its infancy up here in the steps behind the railings so that people could still go around it, and an officer tried to remove it, and in my haste I made the mistake of grabbing the rock from his hand instead of the banner, and I was immediately arrested quite violently for obstruction of justice and held for 5 days in solitary again without any Miranda rights, representation, or charges officially filed, and ended up dehydrated from not being able to continue my treatment program. And after 5 days they released me on disorderly conduct instead of obstruction, and I went to court this morning to address all the citations I've gotten so far since I've been involved with the Solidarity Movement.
All right. Any other final thoughts for anybody who might see this video?
Yes. Please look for the Hunger Site pages on Facebook. Please look for the video that we're going to be putting that's updated on YouTube, on Twitter, that will have information about the letter of appeal to Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. It'll have the contact information in Washington as well as Tammy Baldwin's contact information because she supported us during the Solidarity Movement, and I had my picture taken with her, and I trust the woman. As soon as you get a hold of that contact information and that letter and that petition, be the lightning of Zeus and get it out in everybody's hands.
All right, thanks for your time.